In this video, I'll show you how to counter every character in Garden Warfare 2, as the game is mostly played around counterpicks. If you know how to counterpick every character, it's very hard to lose if you're playing optimally. I'll go in order of all the characters, and if there's a standout variant, I'll be sure to touch on them. If you guys like this video, please subscribe and leave a comment what your favorite matchup is. Alright, let's get into the video. The first character I want to talk about countering is the imp class. The imps have very low health, but they do a lot of damage, so you have to be careful not to get too close to them and get stunned. A great character to use is barbecue corn, because you could chip at them from far range. Even if they try to go behind a corner, they're still going to be taking fire damage. Another character that's really good at taking care of imps is EP. Imps have a really hard time dodging EP, and as well as imps having really low HP, they're just going to die to EP practically instantly. If the imp happens to call in his mech, you could just use Frozen Citron. Frozen Citron's really good against mechs because you have to freeze, obviously. Hit scan laser, you could freeze them, or when they get low you could just peach them. They can't move. Peaches last longer on mechs, and then you could just keep getting them. And even if you do get low, you could just roll away, or you could finish them off with the spin dash. Obviously, the gameplay right now is in private play on easy mode, so it's doing less damage than in an actual match. One last character that's very good for countering imps, and this one is very niche, but on maps like Moonbase it's pretty nice. Fire Rose is very good against imps, because if you get a full charge, it's a guaranteed kill with the fire upgrade. So yeah, Fire Rose is another good one. Fire characters in general are very good at countering the imps. The next characters I'm going to be talking about is the superhero class. The superheroes have a ton of HP, so similar to the mechs, the Frozen Citron is a fantastic counter to them. You could stop them right in their tracks, you could stun them, and you could even catch up to them easily with the ball. Superheroes are barely an issue with these. You could also pop up your shield to dodge the punches. If that's not working quite well, there's other characters as well. If the super variant plays on the ground and doesn't really play that well, you could just use Twilight, Chomper, and Goop and just put them in the spikeweed and eat them, which is a very good counter. Those two are the biggest and best counters to super variants, but there's also a couple other ones like Law P, but I highly recommend just using Frozen Citron or Chomper. Alright, the next class I'm talking about is the Pirate class, which they're obviously very good from far range. So you could counter them with far range as well. So cacti are very good at countering them, but they can go into their barrel, which can be quite annoying for the cacti. But if you're a character like Zen Cactus, you do quite a bit of damage even when they're in the barrel. But even like you just kind of want to kill them before they see you. That's the best strategy against them. So Future Cactus is also amazing. So Future Cactus, Camo Cactus, those ones in particular are very good against them. You could also go a peashooter and rush them, but like I said, you have to be careful because they could go into the barrel and then you can't really do much. So I'd recommend using cacti against the Deadbeard class. For the soldier class, it's kind of hard to counter them because they kind of have an answer for every situation. They could get high ground, their guns are good at all ranges, and they have just really an option for anything. So you kind of just have to outplay them. So playing a character that can get height like a peashooter and keep up with them is good. A character like a Rose or a Sunflower just have too little health or too big of a hitbox to really keep up with them. Though if you do catch them off guard, it's pretty good. But I would go with peashooter, Citron for the counters to it, or if you're from far range, a Cactus is also good. For engineers, you have to just stay away from them and not get stunned, so you have to play at a safe distance. Do not get stunned by them or else you will die. So peashooters are great for doing that, but there's also a couple other ones, like for example like a character like Citron, which can stun them as well. So like Frozen Citron, you could stun them, get them, and pretty good. There's also cacti, like I said, you can just get them before they get you. Same as the soldier, kind of just don't get stunned. You have to play a little bit more safe up close. But you may be noticing a trend with Frozen Citron. He doesn't really have many losing matchups, but he does have a couple, which we'll get to. For scientist counters, you just want to use cacti. You could kind of get them from range, and since they have low HP, Future Cactus is a very good counter to them. In certain situations, even chompers can be good against some of them, but for the most part, you're going to want to be keeping your distance. But also playing at a mid-range with a peashooter is very good, like EP, because you could do damage to like the station and the scientist at the same time, which may seem niche, but it's actually very, very useful. But yeah, those are the main ones for scientists. For the all-stars, similar to superheroes, you're just going to want to use Frozen Citron. Frozen Citron can stun all-stars before they use any of their very good abilities. You could keep up with them with your ball, and then you also have an insane amount of speed. And cherry on top, you also have your shield. So yeah, Frozen Citron just destroys the all-stars. For Hovergoat, you kind of just want to play safe around him. EP is a very good counter to him, but you could also camp with Cacti. And of course, good old reliable Frozen Citron works too. So Citrons are probably the hardest class to counter in the entire game because they have so many defensive options and they could run and they have so much health as well, which is really good. So they are really hard to counter, Frozen Citron in particular. So what you want to do is just keep your distance from them. If they're camping, it could be really hard to kill them too, but like they don't get too much off of camping. But like regular Deadbeard is a great counter to them because you could just kind of snipe them. But Frozen Citron in particular, you're going to want to use either Astronaut, because Astronaut can get rid of the ice damage, and he also can snipe Frozen Citron. And then the other great counter to Frozen Citron is the Paleontologist. Paleontologist is also really good because he could cancel the ice damage, and then he could also chip away with fire damage from range, which isn't affected by drop off. So I'd really recommend Deadbeard or those two scientists for the Citron class. Rose is a very easy class to counter if you just keep your distance, and Cannon does a great job at doing that. You could kill her in like 3 hits, and the character can't do anything against it. So yeah, if you want to kill roses, just use Cannon. Corn also kind of has an answer to everything like Soldier, so keeping your distance is good. Don't go near him with his husk hop. Even playing a character like Mechanic where you could just run up and stun him is really good. And then you could also shoot him out of his husk hop with your primary, which is very accurate. Stun him, and yeah, just watch out for the husk hop. For peashooters, you want to have higher health or fire damage because they could run around so quickly. Some of them don't do as much damage, so having that higher health is very nice. So superheroes make a great class. You could also keep up with them with your punches and kicks and damage. So if they try to run away, you could just kick over to them. If they're in Gatling, you could just go behind a corner and you could use your beam like this, which is really good. So yeah, the Brains class is a very good counter to them. But there's some other niche picks, like I think Snipers, particularly Flameface, is really good because especially on P's like Agent P, they just have such little health that like you could just chip away at them from far away and they can't do anything. And if they do try to rush you, you could just go in your barrel and they can't do any damage. Again, don't approach them with a barrel, use the barrel and go to safety. So yeah, there's not much they could really do there. Even then, All-Stars are also good, but I just recommend sticking to the either pirate or superhero for the counter to that class. For chompers, engineers are obviously good because they have their stun, but I'd actually recommend any character that can get high ground or any character that can play at range. Like a superhero is a really good counter to them because you have that jump and you're always accessible to it. Don't use your punches, you could just beam them from afar and they really can't do anything. Their goop does too little damage to out damage you, and if you do somehow get near them, you could just kick away. I know that's kind of counterintuitive to what I said to counter the Brains class, but that's why I recommended Frozen Citron. At higher levels of play, Super Brains can beat Chompers. For Sunflower, it's similar to Rose. You could just play Cannon. Your Dets can break both the potted plant and the flower at the same time, which is really good. And they don't really have a lot of health, so you could kill them in like 3 shots. There's some other characters that are good against flowers. I think Astronaut is also really good, and of course, like I said, sniping with Reg Deadbeard just terminates them. They just can't do anything. Yeah, so just keeping your distance, and if you're playing a fire character, for example, if you're playing Paleontologist, just break the heal flower and you'll be good to go. Cactus is the same as I said about Deadbeard. You just kind of have to out-snipe her. Except the Cactus doesn't have barrel, so it's definitely easier to approach Cactus if you're playing more aggressive with the Soldier. But I do think that if you get the first shot, that's kind of how sniping works. It's like whoever like gets the first shot can win most of the time. Future Cactus you have to watch out for. So Yeah, running a health upgrade though is good against camo cactus because she can't two-shot you, so I'd recommend running a health upgrade if you're playing like Break Dead Beard in general. No one really plays Torchwood, but if you do have to counter him, you could just play Arctic Trooper and freeze him, but that doesn't always work because Torchwood has really good abilities like Smoldering Madness and as well as Leaf Shield. So the character I'd actually recommend to counter Torchwood is a Astronaut from range. When you're Astronaut, he can't use Blazing Blast or Smoldering Madness on you because you could just pop down the heal station and you could just out DPS him. And just keeping your range from him, you'll be just fine as the Astronaut. So yeah, I'd recommend Astronaut to counter the Torchwood, just to negate the fire damage. And then of course going in your barrel as Deadbeard is also really good because he just can't really do much. Don't use Cannon against him though. Cannon struggles with high health characters. Now to go over some of the more niche ones, for example Barbecue Corn, you're going to want to use Astronaut and Paleontologist. For Agent P, you're going to want to use Fire Zombies. EP, you're going to want to use High Health Zombies. Chompers, like I said, High Ground. Fire Flower, you're going to want to use Astronaut. For Cannon, you're going to want to run a High Health character. Flame Face, you're going to want to run probably a Cactus or a Flower. For Paleontologist, you're probably going to want to run a Flower, but you have to be careful, so just keep your distance from him. But yeah, for the most part, it's mainly plants that have their standoff characters. And then, like I said, with Camo Cactus, run a health upgrade on 125 HP characters, so then you can't get two-shot. It really makes the character a lot worse. But yeah, this is going to help a lot of people, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Bye, guys.